Hello and welcome to Dave's Delightful Dishes. And as always, I'm Dave, and it's a delight to have you here in my kitchen with me. And today we're going to do something that's kind of like for a football tailgate. You get invited over to someone's house or any potluck. I'm going to do a take on Sloppy Joe's and tater tots. It's going to be Sloppy Joe tater tot casserole. But I know, Sloppy Joe's, that's not that great. However, I have a special recipe for it where we pump it up with Southern Comfort. And this is probably the best, barbecue beef / Sloppy Joe I've ever had. And we're going to put that into a casserole with tater tots. Now, I don't make tater tots myself because I don't think anybody does, but I can get them at the store, and I did. So here's the ingredients, and this is a multi-step process, but we're going to start, and we got to make we got to make the ground beef first. Then we're going to put that together in the casserole, and it's going to go into a 450-degree oven. Easy peasy. This is not a hard recipe. It just looks like a lot of things. So we start off with 3 pounds of ground beef. I chose a mixture of ground round and some extra lean, so that'll bump my lean up, but I still have enough fat for the flavor. We have 1 white onion, chopped. 1 green pepper, chopped. We have 2 cups of ketchup. Pick your brand, but really there is only one brand. But pick whatever brand you like, but 2 cups of it. A half a cup of SoCo. Man, I can smell that from here. A third cup of brown sugar, packed. A teaspoon of salt. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then a lemon that we're going to squeeze. We just squeeze that in at the end there. We'll get to it. 1 package of tater tots, which I've already pulled out. I mean, they're frozen, but they're going to be in an oven very shortly, so no problem. And then this is 1 package of shredded cheese. And depending on how intense you want to be with your cheese, it might be 2 packages of shredded cheese. But we'll get there during assembly. So everything we're going to do, except for final assembly or assembly before going in the oven, is going to be here on the cooktop. So I'll see you right over there. So I have just enough oil in there, it's olive oil, to be able to wet it so that the onions can start sauteing in this hot, stock pot, saucepan. And the onions are going in, and the peppers are going in. And we got to saute these until they soften up, like you've seen so many times. We're going to give this a nice stir. And this is going to take probably 3 or 4 minutes. It's hard to say because there's a good number of them in there, with it being a full pepper and a full onion. It may take a little longer, but you're going to get to see what it looks like, and we've done this multiple times before as far as sweating out the vegetables before we move on to the next step. So you'll know what this is going to look like. And if you want to, you could add a little, like a pat of butter, but I think that little bit of oil is going to be plenty. There's going to be lots of flavor in this recipe. We don't need to add much extra. So we'll be back. As you can see, the onions are now translucent, and everything is starting to just lightly brown. And this is a good time to start adding in my liquids. So we add in the SoCo. And just step back for a second because the alcohol coming up. And then in goes the ketchup. And I've got to get my rubber spatula to get all that ketchup out. Don't want to waste any. And we get that in there. There we go. And you got to stir that to combine. And we're trying to get this back up to a simmer. And I'm going to keep adding in the rest of the ingredients while I'm at it here. So I have the salt, the Worcestershire sauce, and the brown sugar. Now we're going to stir all that together. And then I'm going to get this on medium-low heat and just let this come up to temperature. And this is all going to get cooked again. So we just want it to, you see how it's starting to bubble along the edges? we just want to get it warm. So now that it's starting to bubble, I'm going to put it to low, and I'm going to put it on a back burner with a lid on and just let that warm up. And get ready for the next thing. All right. So what we got to do now is we got to oil this cast iron pan. I got that on high, and I'm going to get that up to a smoking high heat before we start. So I will get back to you once we're ready to put some beef on. I always do the same thing when I'm getting ready to cook beef. Even though that's a seasoned pan, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in it just to make sure that I'm not just immediately spot welding this meat to the pan. And give it a chance to just roll around and get some coverage. And then here comes my meat. And it's going to start laying out. Now, I've got 3 pounds of this, so even with my big pan here, I may have to do this in batches. Because you don't want to crowd too far. Well, actually, that's 1.5 pounds right there. And that is going to fit. So I'm going to do this in 2 batches, the one and then the other. And you have to drain any excess fat off this meat. So I will be back with you once we've got some brown meat. All right. So our meat is browned and drained and ready to go into our sauce. There's always going to be a little bit of grease left, but that's fine. That's, grease is flavor in the end. And we got to stir this to combine. And now I got to squeeze in my lemon juice. And I must have missed a pair of seeds here. We'll get them right out. Boop. And stir this all together. And I'm just going to get this back to simmering. And then we're going to start just to let all the flavors combine. It's going to be about 5 minutes. Once it's simmering and been sitting for 5 minutes, I'm going to put together the casserole. So 5 minutes have come and gone. Our meat is all combined and together, and I have greased up a casserole dish. Do you have to grease it? No, but I've just found that it makes it a little easier in the cleanup later because I do have cheesy things that might stick to the side. So now I'm going to take probably about half of this mix. So between 1 pound and 1.5 pounds is going to go down here on the bottom of this casserole dish. Why do I make 3 pounds, you say? Well, because I still don't eat cheese, so this isn't something that's going to be for me. This is going to be for my guests and my wife. So I want to make sure there's enough Sloppy Joe left for me to make myself a Sloppy Joe sandwich, because this is probably the best Sloppy Joe I've ever had. It's really, really good. Okay, so we got about 1 pound in there, and now we're going to take cheese. And we're going to spread ourselves a nice layer of cheese here on top of the meat. And in case I haven't told you recently, remember to wash your hands. And then we're going to take our tater tots. And I know there's some frosty ones, but they were frozen. And I'm going to get as many of these as I can fit in here. And I'll figure something out myself with the extras. There we go. Give it a push. Make sure it's all in. And then the rest of this cheese is going on top. And if you like it to be super cheesy, then you can, by all means, this is one of those packages you get at the grocery store. You can certainly get a whole bunch more. So if you want to load on extra cheese, go for it. But that is one package of cheese on top. I've got my lid, and this is going in a 450-degree oven for 25 minutes. All right, so the 20-minute timer, I'm sorry, 25-minute timer is up. So this is cooked, but as you can see, it is still kind of bubbly and bubbling. So before you would serve this, you want to let this sit and kind of come back together a little bit. So I would let this sit covered for another 5 to 10 minutes before service. Now, if you're bringing it somewhere, obviously, then you just try to keep it warm, and then you'll give it a little reheat when you get to wherever you're going. So this looks like it came together really well, and I know I love this. I love all these components, so there's no reason why this isn't going to be a lovely dish. And when you're serving, for a, what you call it, for like a tailgate or a potluck, you want to have, I'd probably section it up into pieces. This size container is going to make about 6 to 8 servings, depending on if it's a main or a side, or just people having a taste of it. If you wanted to serve this for a bunch, I would use all 3 pounds and then 2 packages of the of the potatoes, of the tater tots, and that would get you like a larger dish. But as you can see, and if you wanted to, you could add a little extra of that meat on top. But I think this looks just lovely just as it is. Now, I would serve this, if I was going to serve this as a meal, I would serve this with a vegetable and a salad on the side because I've already got meat and starch inside. But as you can see, it's delightful. And I hope you guys get a chance to try this. This isn't a fancy dish by any stretch of the imagination, but oh my goodness, is it good? Does it remind you of being a kid? Yes. Do you want to try this at home? Gosh, I hope so. I know I'm going to enjoy watching my wife enjoy this while I'm enjoying my Sloppy Joe sandwich. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you try this. I'd love you to like and or subscribe if you haven't already. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I hope to see more of this soon. I hope to see more of you soon. And remember, my recipes, well, the recipes are here, but my ingredients are in the description of every one of my videos. See you next time. Have a wonderful day.